Hello, I'm Robert Wiley. Well, I'll share a little bit about my story. Uh, when I was really young, uh, I was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and mostly the reason why I was diagnosed was because my mom noticed when I was an infant that whenever a storm would come in, I would cry uncontrollably. So she decided to get me tested and found that out. Uh, through the years, I dealt with the pain, and most of the issues that I suffered were chronic fatigue and uh, pain through the joints especially when storms would come in and the barometer would change. Uh, to be able to deal with that, we searched for different things to ease the conditions, and I found roller skating. And when I found roller skating, I found that working those joints, especially through the knees and hips, that it that smooth action really worked through those joints and was able to relieve a lot of that pain. It also got rid of a lot of the inflammation, and so I was able to deal with life a lot easier. In that course of that time, I uh, gained a really close friendship with a couple of my friends, and we actually started uh, performing under the business name of Wow Wild on Wheels. And we traveled around and did exhibition skating and performed all throughout the Midwest. Um, I, because of the arthritis and other things in my life, I always faced depression. And so I understood and understand how much pain mental anguish can cause. Uh, Shortly after uh, I got older and got married, I went through an abusive relationship and survived that as well. I've got on the right track as far as finding my sweetheart, and uh, life happened, and both of my friends that were on my team wound up taking their own lives. Uh, it still affects me, and it used to be overwhelming. And after years of dealing with that and my own personal trials, I discovered that it didn't affect me as much, and I had strength that was from inside. And so I started sitting down and trying to see what exactly why I was able to cope and deal with it so much better now than what I used to. Now, for the last about 30 years, I've taught self defense, and I've taught how to deal with anything that can hurt and kill you. And, you know, other than physical attackers from both animals and humans, but I also focused on mental and emotional things that can hurt you, like ourselves, and started speaking on overcoming suicide and losing your loved ones to suicide. And I discovered that there was a triangle that was a recipe for me to help me. And I like to put it in the form of the fire triangle. And that is how I can articulate the three different things that I use, the three different foundations that I use to be able to give my mental health strength and to have the faith to face the world. Now, as far as topics that I'd like to highlight or talk about, and that I often do travel and speak on, I teach threat detection and mitigation, and under the understanding that your brain is hardwired for self-preservation. And when you can understand that, not only can you see how your body reacts when it deals with a perceived threat, those things like the butterflies in the stomach, or the hair standing up on the back of your neck, or that off, feeling that you get, that's just that against your gut feeling that something's off or doesn't add up about a person, place, or thing. But I also speak on that overcoming suicide and hope and healing from dealing with losing loved ones, and also facing those self-harming thoughts. And those are the subjects that I love to speak on, because they are so dear to me and so personal to me. Now, as far as uh, topics that I prefer not to talk about, I'm pretty much an open book. I don't mind talking about any subject. And personally, I believe that when you deal with trigger warnings, or deal with those things that you perceive that you need to avoid, you're only weakening yourself. Because when you face those trials, when you have the faith to trust in a supreme being that loves you and that is aware of you, then it gives you strength, and it gives you power to face those demons that that haunt each one of us. And I know that we're all human, and we all have those doubts. We all have those trials. And we all have those demons that haunt us when the dark approaches. So come what may and love it. I face anything that I can, and as we can understand and face the fears that we deal with, then we can have the strength to overcome anything. Now, the reason why I share my story, and why it's so important to spend the time and money that I do to push the this message out to everyone that can take it, and that I can bring it to, is because I understand that every single person on this earth is of great worth, that we all face trials, that we all face unsurmountable tasks, that sometimes we feel like we just can't make it. We all have those things that we just need a little hope. And then if I can do just a simple thing as far as helping one other person, then I know that I've done my job. I know that I've helped, and I know that I've made the world a better place. And that's the whole reason of living. So that's why I do what I do.